Welcome to KMET 1490 AM ABC News Radio and the Southern California Business Report with Yvette Walker, a show dedicated to highlighting successful Southern California businesses and the people behind them.
Welcome and thank you for joining Southern California Business Report on ABC News and Talks, KMET 1490 AM, 98.1 FM, and KMETTV. I'm Yvette Walker, live blasting our signal from the center of Southern California, serving a population of over 25 million. Get us crystal clear and on demand by downloading the free live streaming app on Google Play and the Apple App Store. As always, a huge shout out to the team, Mitch, Bill, and Sean. I love you guys, and to our special advisory committee that can be found at www.scbrtalk.com/advisory committee. Click on the link and learn about the remarkable leaders doing the work. Speaking, of course, of remarkable leaders, I have the privilege to introduce today Dr. Mike Stull, who is a professor of entrepreneurship, founding director of the School of Entrepreneurship, and director of the Inland Empire Center for Entrepreneurship in the Jack H. Brown College of Business and Public Administration at California State University, San Bernardino. With more than 35 years as an entrepreneur in for-profit, nonprofit, and public sector environments that includes technology, manufacturing, management, consulting, and regional economic development, Mike describes himself as the living example that entrepreneurship is a process that can be applied in any setting, and he truly thinks like an owner. As someone who likes to challenge his students in and out of the classroom, Mike is viewed as an innovative and demanding teacher that brings the reality of entrepreneurship into the classroom. As one of his students noted, the class projects that Mike assigns, such as having to start and run a business, touch on every aspect of what it takes to be an entrepreneur. It truly is learning applied to the reality of entrepreneurship. Due to this hands-on and entrepreneurial approach, Mike has been recognized with several teaching awards, including the university's highest honor for teaching, the Golden Apple Award for Teaching Excellence. Directing the university's entrepreneurship program and Inland Empire Center for Entrepreneurship, Mike is responsible for program and curriculum management and development, teaching entrepreneurship courses, and overseeing numerous entrepreneurial initiatives. He directs a team of 60-plus members and has raised over $53 million in grants, contracts, and sponsorship, and achieved national acclaim, including ranking as a top 50 graduate program in entrepreneurship globally by the Princeton Review and Entrepreneur Magazine in 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025. And selected as one of the top 35 entrepreneurship centers globally in 2017 by IECE International. In addition, the Inland Empire Center for Entrepreneurship has been recognized for its excellence in technology entrepreneurship, winning the United States Association for Small Business and Entrepreneurship's Excellence in Entrepreneurship Education Award for its Technology Commercialization Fellowship Program that helps transform minority scientists into innovative entrepreneurs. In addition to his academic recognitions, Mike has received numerous awards throughout his business career, including Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year, Management Leader of the Year from the University of California, Riverside, and Small Business Advocate of the Year from the County of San Bernardino. Mike holds a doctorate in management from Case Western Reserve University and an MBA BA in Business Administration from California State University, San Bernardino. At Case Western, he served as a fellow in the Mandel Center for Nonprofit Organizations. Thank you so much for being with us today, Dr. Stull.
Yeah, delighted to be here, Vet. Good to see you again.
It's great to see you as well. That is quite a remarkable bio. It has evolved since the last time we spoke, and I'm so excited to jump into your journey and what inspired you to become a leader in the field of entrepreneurship.
Well, I think, like many people, the journey was influenced by my parents. They launched their own business when I was 5 years old. And so from that period of time, going forward, I was really exposed to the lifestyle, the demands, the rewards, the challenges of business ownership, and seeing my parents slowly but surely build their business and, face adversity and have success and, adversity again. And, it was front and center as a part of the fabric of our life. And so I was inspired by that. And, like I had lots of potential life goals, but, being an entrepreneur was one of those. And that's the pathway that I've followed. And, through up until I arrived at Cal State San Bernardino, I think everything I was doing was sort of preparing me for this particular opportunity that arose at Cal State San Bernardino 23 years ago. So
That is remarkable. And as the founding director of the School of Entrepreneurship at CSUSB, what was your vision for the program and how has it evolved since its inception?
yeah, I joined Cal State San Bernardino full time in 2002. I was a part of the advisory board for the Center for Entrepreneurship when it launched in 1999, and I taught the very first MBA class in entrepreneurship here at Cal State San Bernardino in 2001. So I've been actively involved in the delivery of the academic programs, really from 2001 forward. So we've been teaching entrepreneurship here at Cal State San Bernardino for quite some time in terms of the bachelor's degree that has a focus in entrepreneurship, the MBA program, which had a focus in entrepreneurship, and now recently launched in fall of 2020, our Master of Science in Entrepreneurship and Innovation program. So I've been a part of this evolution from the very beginning, culminating in the creation of our own entity, the School of Entrepreneurship. And that was really the vision, that was ultimately we would be able to take a program that was small and grow it to a point where we could become our own entity, academic entity within the Jack H. Brown College of Business and Public Administration. So it's been a long journey to get there, and now we're in our fourth year of operating the School of Entrepreneurship, actually fifth year, and we're super excited about the future. And the school and our academic programs have evolved as the field of entrepreneurship has evolved. What we know about entrepreneurship, what we experience as entrepreneurs, and so that we've continue to add to our toolkit of best practices and the things we learn by doing not only research, but also by practice ourselves as entrepreneurs. And so I think that's resulted in every year our program gets better in that regard.
Sounds that way. And Dr. Stull, share what you believe are the key characteristics that define a successful entrepreneur in today's rapidly changing business landscape.
Wow. Okay. So what makes a successful entrepreneur? Yeah, that's a complicated question, because I've met a number of entrepreneurs who ask me when they know what I do, they say, well, can you really teach entrepreneurship? And of course, my response is, yes, you can. We can't deny DNA, right? And socialization, and that those things play a role. But let's get down to the facts that, there are specific competencies that make people successful entrepreneurs, that they get good at doing certain things. And one of the things we do here at Cal State San Bernardino is we teach to those types of competencies. We actually have 13 competencies we teach to, so that you can actually measure the competencies, you can acquire the competencies. But a lot of those types of things are things like being adaptable and being committed and determined, and having creative problem solving, and being able to see, have a vision, and be able to see opportunities, and be able to articulate that vision, and build a team, and find the resources, and do all those things, and really understand how to mitigate the risk that's inherent in creating a new venture. There's never a guaranteed thing, but there's some things you can do to mitigate the risk. And so all of those things, whether it's that creative problem solving or adaptability, or, incredibly strong motivation and drive to be successful, all those things come together in varying degrees and make up this kind of persona of a successful entrepreneur in terms of what they're good at, and also what their characteristics and behaviors are.
Please explain the role of the Inland Empire Center for Entrepreneurship in fostering entrepreneurial growth and innovation in the region.
Oh, great. Yeah, great question, because, I'm passionate about the School of Entrepreneurship and also the Inland Empire Center for Entrepreneurship. That was the first thing we created at Cal State San Bernardino. And the whole idea was to be a resource, to be an organization that supports and celebrates entrepreneurship and small business, both on campus and in the community. So it's really about the entrepreneurial ecosystem. And so what we are doing is providing services both on campus and in the community that are helping to create and grow businesses. So whether if you're in the community and you're interested in starting a business, we have educational resources and programs and business counseling available that can help you realize that dream of business ownership. If you're already in business, we have programs that can help you take that business to the next level. And that's through things like our Small Business Development Center, our Women's Business Center, our International Trade Development Program. All of these programs come together to provide those resources and that expertise and experience to help people launch and grow businesses. On campus, we're delivering programs that create this ecosystem where if students want to start a business while they're on campus, we have the programs and the experiential learning activities that will help them do that. And so it's really all about how can we support and promote entrepreneurship and do it in a way that's impactful. And I think that's the most important element. And every year we launch new programs. And in 2024, we've launched two three very impactful new programs. Two of them called the Entrepreneurial Resource Centers that are located in San Bernardino and Temecula that serve as a hub to bring together not only our services but other organization services, so that it's kind of a one-stop place where you can get all the resources you need to start and grow your business.
So are these programs offered to alumni, the public? Is there a cost attached to it? Please give us the background on that.
Offered, yes. Offered to anybody that is interested and wants to take advantage of these programs and services. One-on-one business counseling, intensive training programs and workshops and seminars, mentoring and coaching programs. Anybody that in our region that wants to take advantage of those services can, and they are free. So yeah, there's a few things that we have a small nominal fee for, but very little. Almost everything we do is offered at no cost, and that's because those services are provided through a series of grants and sponsorships that we have from organizations like the U.S. Small Business Administration, the state of California, Office of Small Business Advocacy, and the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development, as well as County of Riverside, City of San Bernardino, U.S. Bank, Bank of America, all these organizations coming together, providing funding support for us to deliver these types of programs and services.
Absolutely brilliant. Dr. Stull, please share some common misconceptions about entrepreneurship you would like to dispel.
Wow, that's a big question. Okay, so I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that, like I said before, sometimes people think, well, you have to be born to be an entrepreneur. And I absolutely do not believe that's the case. I believe that you can, with the proper motivation and commitment, literally anybody could be an entrepreneur, but they have to acquire the competencies necessary to successfully start and grow a business. And sure, if you have a certain DNA, if you're more outgoing, if your risk-taking propensity is generally higher than the typical average person, yeah, that's going to be an advantage to you. But anybody could do it. That's the first thing. I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I could never be an entrepreneur." There's a lot of people that said that ended up starting businesses. And the second piece of it is that this perception that entrepreneurs are wild risk takers, that they're almost, on the edge all the time. And if you really dive deep into this, the reality is most successful entrepreneurs are what we call risk mitigators. They are willing to take risks if they believe that they can stack the odds in their favor. And there's a variety of things we teach in our program. They're what we call risk mitigation strategies. How can you shape the opportunity? How can you assess it and shape it and line things up so that you minimize the risk? There's always going to be risk in doing something where the future is unknown, right? It's an uncertain thing. But if you talk to most entrepreneurs, they will acknowledge that they're more willing to take a risk than an average person. But on average, they're not wild gamblers. They feel like they can, if they can control the odds, have some, input on the odds of the outcome, that they're willing to take that risk. So I think those are two of the biggest things.
And what would you say are the top 3 risk mitigating factors that new entrepreneurs can apply today?
Number one is that they understand how to assess their idea for a business and determine whether it's an opportunity. Number 2 and number 3 are the same thing. That is the most critical step. It's what we call the customer discovery. It's been also named lean startup or the scientific method of entrepreneurship. It's a way to understand through research, through doing the heavy lifting of research and talking to potential customers and getting understanding in industry and understand the dynamics of this, that when you go to launch, you have enough information that points you to say, this is an opportunity. I'm not guessing anymore. I have it's nothing is ever certain, but I have a really strong objective data that tells me that there's a problem here and what I'm coming up will solve it. It's going to meet a need. And I've done that. I've gone through that process. It's more than just me going, it's a great idea. I know this is going to work. But you've done the detective work. As we like to say, oftentimes we'll say is that startups are not about creating products or services. Startups are about finding customers. If you can find the customers and determine that they need what you're proposing to offer, and there's a product market fit, the customers need it, you've mitigated the risk big time. So that's number 1, 2, and 3. You can't understate the importance of that.
Brilliant. Dr. Stull, what is the School of Entrepreneurship and how is it different from the Inland Empire Center for Entrepreneurship? Also, please expand on the Inland Empire Center for Entrepreneurship's $1 billion economic impact initiative.
Absolutely. Okay, so the School of Entrepreneurship exists, and its primary mission is to deliver academic programs to students here at Cal State San Bernardino, undergraduate programs in entrepreneurship, graduate programs in entrepreneurship, minors. We're working with all the different colleges on campus, engaging students, and really serving as a pipeline to the region for future entrepreneurs. So we're giving them that academic preparation, they're getting their degree, and we're giving them the opportunities to experience entrepreneurship firsthand while they're here. So that's really the real core focus of the School of Entrepreneurship. The Center for Entrepreneurship, the Inland Empire Center for Entrepreneurship, its focus is on how can we provide programs and services that will help the community create and grow businesses, create a business, or if they have an existing business, take it to the next level. And at the same time, provide the types of experiential learning activities for our students here on campus that will help them learn entrepreneurship firsthand. So the Center for Entrepreneurship is really all about supporting and promoting entrepreneurship with a huge commitment to the community, and then also helping, create that environment on campus that complements what we're doing in the school with the academic programs. And then the Center for Entrepreneurship is all about getting results. We want to work with businesses and help them launch their business. We want to help them grow their business, get access to capital, create jobs, increase their sales, all those wonderful things. And to date, cumulatively, the Inland Empire Center for Entrepreneurship has worked with over 193,000 business owners over the last 20 years and has an economic impact in this region of nearly $800 million. That's helping them increase their sales, get access to capital, export their product, get access to a government contract or a prime or a subcontract with a prime contractor. It's all those things taken together that roll up into this almost $800 million in economic impact. Over 2,500 new businesses created as a result of our services. And our goal is to, by 2028, reach 1 billion in economic impact. And that's really, for us, that is an incredible milestone that we are really trying to reach, because this economy in the Inland Empire small businesses is the backbone of that economy. And our goal is not just a target; it's a mission to transform lives. That this, if small businesses are successful, it's going to create generational wealth. It's going to impact the local economy. So, we really feel strongly that our services are not just services. They are, I always say my term for entrepreneurship is economic empowerment. Because it's not just about creating businesses, it's about transforming lives. And for us, reaching that $1 billion means that we're having a direct impact on our local economy. But more importantly, we're helping people realize their dreams of business ownership or realize the dream of growing their business and maybe passing it on to their children and, on and on and on. So it's a really powerful motivator and goal for us as a team because that's why we exist. We want to do that. And we hope that, a lot of those folks that are going out there and creating those jobs and having an economic impact are not only the ones we're working with in the community, but they're coming out of the School of Entrepreneurship as well.
Wonderful. Please shed light on the trends you see emerging in the entrepreneurship space, particularly in the Inland Empire. How can entrepreneurs best position themselves to leverage these trends?
Ooh, wow. Okay. So, trends, they're all over the place, like right now. And of course, what's obviously a hot topic right now is how can we harness the power of AI? And, how does that going to impact our existing companies? And, so that's a very big area. We have actually several student startups in our program right now. That's sort of the underpinnings of some of their technology that they're working on. And the apps and the software that they're proposing to deploy has a pretty significant AI component. So I think that's a certainly an emerging area that we're looking at, with a lot of the startups. And the other area that I think is ripe for entrepreneurs is something we don't talk about too often, and this is something we focus on in the School of Entrepreneurship: is how can we take existing technologies that are being developed by really smart people in federal labs, university labs, and oftentimes developed for specific purposes within, let's say, the military or in a university, let's say a medical school or a hospital. How can we take those technologies and find other commercial applications for them? And it's very powerful because you can take a team of entrepreneurs, and I'll give you an example. We have a team of entrepreneurs that began working with the United States Navy, assessing one of their technologies that was developed specifically for the naval use and trying to find commercial applications for it. And they identified a commercial application. This was in the midst of the pandemic, to take this really unique laser scanning technology that was developed by the Navy and apply it to detecting the coronavirus on surfaces. And so that became the basis of a startup business that then went on to win a statewide pitch competition and had received some venture capital investment. They then, as coronavirus started to diminish in obviously the scale and immediacy, that startup venture pivoted and found a use of that technology for fentanyl detection in law enforcement and other areas and medical as well. So they are now moving to commercialize that. They're working on their prototype. So that's an opportunity. Now, none of these students were scientists. None of them developed the technology. But by identifying the technology and finding a way to commercialize it, licensing the technology, is leading to a really unique opportunity. And so that's one of those areas that is ripe for going in and creating new ventures in that regard.
That is absolutely amazing. Dr. Stull, please stay with us. We are hitting on a break. So for everybody listening right now, Yvette Walker with ABC News and Talk, Southern California Business Report, speaking with Dr. Mike Stull, a visionary leader in entrepreneurship and the founding director of the School of Entrepreneurship at California State University, San Bernardino. Don't miss this opportunity to learn from his expertise and discover how you can turn your ideas into impactful ventures when we return.
Hi, I'm Dana Rademacher with MGR Property Management.
A lot of people wonder about the value that property management has for their property. Property management can include all property types, including residential, commercial, and HOA. It is valuable because property managers are experienced in what can happen at your property. We're aware of liabilities. We're able to do predictive and preventative maintenance. We know what is coming up with the changes in the weather, the seasons, how old certain aspects or different capital projects at your property are. We're able to best negotiate contract pricing, legalities with your tenants, and anything else that you may need to ensure that you're getting the full value of your property. If you're interested in speaking with the representative at MGR Property Management regarding your property management needs, you can visit our website at mgrrealestate.com, or you can call our number at area code 909-581-6600 to be connected with the representative.
Hi, I'm San Bernardino County Sheriff Shannon Dykes. If you're looking to start an exciting career in law enforcement and make a difference in your community, we are hiring dispatchers, nurses, deputies, laterals, and many more. For a complete list of our jobs and more information, visit sheriffsjobs.com.
The University of La Verne is rated first in California for alumni satisfaction. Learn more about accelerated programs offered online and on campus in La Verne, Irvine, Ontario, Burbank, or College of the Canyons. Visit go.laverne.edu. The University of La Verne. go.laverne.edu.
We are the Empire Strikers, the professional sports team of the Inland Empire. We are a fast-actioned and community-inspired pro indoor soccer team. Our mission is to inspire the Empire. Home games, community events, watch parties, and youth camps are all back. Professional indoor soccer is back. Join us and come watch the greatest show on turf at Toyota Arena or on Twitch. Visit www.theempirestrikers.com for more and any information.
Ontario International Airport is on to a better way to fly with over 65 daily nonstop flights to more than 20 major destinations and the easiest airport experience in Southern California. Visit flyonto.com/Ontario to learn more about Ontario International Airport today.
Cal State San Bernardino is home to the only School of Entrepreneurship in California. With globally ranked degree programs, you can start your journey today to become a successful entrepreneur. Learn more and connect at entre.csusb.edu.
Welcome back, everyone. Yvette Walker with ABC News and Talk, Southern California Business Report, speaking with Dr. Mike Stull, a visionary leader in the entrepreneurship and the founding director of School of Entrepreneurship at Cal State University, San Bernardino, with this opportunity to learn from his expertise and discover how you can turn your ideas into impactful ventures. Thank you so much for being with us today, Dr. Stull.
My pleasure, Yvette. Always great to be with you.
Perfect. So prior to the break, you basically spoke about how part of your curriculum includes exploring scientific research, proven technology in laboratory settings, and adjusting them to channel them to consumers and commercializing them. That is absolutely phenomenal. Can you give us an overview of something that you recently were able to work on in that setting?
Yeah, we've worked on multiple things, whether that's the laser scanning technology from the Navy, or we've worked on a medical technology that revolves around blood clotting that was anchored at Loma Linda University. Most recently, our student teams were working on a nanocellular technology that could have some huge impacts on packaging, so packaged materials, the plastic cups that Starbucks uses, the plastic bottles, those kind of things. So it's pretty exciting because, all of the really hard work of developing those unique technologies has been done by the scientists, but scientists aren't necessarily entrepreneurs. And so we're pairing this course and this program pairs up those really cool innovations with students that are wanting to be entrepreneurs and finding use cases, market opportunities for these really cool technologies. So it's kind of blending these two things together. It's a very powerful approach.
That's absolutely remarkable. Dr. Stull, how do you incorporate interdisciplinary approaches within the curriculum to prepare students for real-world challenges in entrepreneurship?
Oh, great question. I'll give you one really immediate approach that we use, and that is about 6 years ago, we were kind of encountering this idea, and it kind of touches on something we talked about earlier about the willingness to take risks and to kind of get out of your comfort zone. That doesn't come natural to everybody. And one of the things that we were seeing with our students was that they were generally a little reserved. As I always often say, one of the hardest things about starting a business is taking that first step because you're stepping into the unknown. Now, if you do customer discovery, you're starting to define and make the unknown more known, but still, it's a leap of faith, right? You have to get out there and do it. And so we kind of noticed our students were a little bit hesitant to get outside their comfort zone, and we couldn't really figure out what to do about it. And right about that time we were having that conversation, a faculty member in our theater arts department sent me an email and said, "Hey, I've been watching what you guys do, and it's unbelievable. And I'm just wondering if there's anything that I'm doing in my field could inform what you're doing in your field. Let's get together and just talk and see if there's opportunities to, maybe there's a synergy between what I'm doing and what you're doing." And as we talked, and I described to her one of the challenges we were having, she said, improvisation, which is what she teaches. She said improvisation, teaching students how to think on their feet, how to get outside their comfort zone, how to interact and build on the ideas of others, and viewing everything as a yes and opportunity rather than a no. And so we created a course called the Improvisational Mind. It is now a required class for all of our entrepreneurship students. And we have literally just seen the students blossom and gain confidence and be able to be more creative, to think on their feet, to really it's had a huge impact. And so we have that course. All of our graduate students take it. All of our undergraduate students take it. It has just been accepted into Cal State's general education curriculum. So students can now take it as a general education class. And I'm excited that all of this has resulted in that faculty member, Johanna Smith from Theater Arts, is now a faculty member in the School of Entrepreneurship. So
that is a brilliant program. I love that. That is a brilliant
truly
program.
Blending. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, when I was coming up in business, it was the power of the cold call. That was our improvisational course.
Yeah.
So, talk about the School of Hard Knocks. But that said, Dr. Stull, what role does innovation play in entrepreneurship, and how can aspiring entrepreneurs cultivate an innovative mindset?
Ooh, great question. So, if you go back to the influential management author, professor, speaker, Peter Drucker, who for many years was at the, right down the road at Claremont Graduate University at the Drucker School. He wrote a lot about different subjects, management, but also entrepreneurship. And he, really famously said that innovation is the key to entrepreneurship, that it really is the defining factor. And so I think a lot of it is thinking about how can we develop products and services? How can we develop businesses that are unique and different and solving problems and doing it in an innovative way? And it's something as simple as, and I'll position this, and this is very simple. As I had a student years ago that wanted to create a salon and spa, and I said, well, there's nothing unique about that. There's a lot of salons and spas out there. How could you approach this differently? How could you think differently about this experience and find a differentiator? And so she came back with, after doing a lot of research and thinking about trends and everything, came back and said, this would be an all organic salon and spa. And so that's what she ended up creating. Now, it's not innovative in the sense that it's a technology or something like that, but she was thinking differently about the opportunity and how to position the business that would make it unique and different from what's already out there. And she's been successful in that business. She's expanded the business. She has multiple locations. She's doing, and so she survived and thrived where in a very competitive kind of Me Too, everybody looks the same industry. And so I think it's a lot of it is how can you focus on innovation? I think you have to tap into this yes and, anything is possible. You have to shift your mindset and you have to think about ideation, coming up with ideas, not judging our ideas. We can come up with 100 ideas and most of the time 98 or 99 of them are going to be terrible, but one of them is going to be in there that's good. Well, a lot of people stop before they get to 100 because they start judging their ideas and their thoughts. They say, oh, that's not going to work. That's no good. You got to commit to the process and think about, I'm just going to start coming up with these crazy ideas and putting them down on paper and going through that process. But it's also about looking out at what's out there that could be improved. How could we improve the customer experience? How can we improve a product or a service? And being committed, whether you're an existing company or a startup, if you're an existing company, how can I kind of look at my product offerings or my service offerings and find ways to make them better, more unique? How can we do them more efficiently? Because innovation is not just around products, but it's also around process and how we run our business. So I think a lot of it goes back to just embracing this innovation mindset that is probably the most critical.
In your opinion, what are the biggest challenges facing entrepreneurs today, and how can they effectively navigate these obstacles?
Well, if you go by our State of Entrepreneurship report that we do each year, the last few years, probably the biggest concerns that of the entrepreneurs that we've surveyed have been really kind of rising to the top would be human capital, finding talented workforce. And, we, as well as consistently, like almost every year, access to capital is an issue for entrepreneurs. It's how can I get the capital to launch my business? But I'm already in business, but I'm growing and I need access to capital. I was just working with an entrepreneur recently that wants to create another business. And so like I'm looking for capital, it's an incredible opportunity here, but I've got to get the capital. And so I think those are like the evergreen, types of issues. I think maybe over time, with the employment situation changing, getting that workforce is going to be get a little bit better. But I visited a panel of entrepreneurs about earlier this year, and their number one issue was finding and retaining talented workers, team members, and because there were so many opportunities out there, people can come and go, and for them to build their businesses, they needed that solid, talented workforce. And as one entrepreneur said, my growth is constrained right now because I can't find enough good, talented team members to help me grow my business. He said, I could easily grow another 30% this year. I just don't have the people.
What other sneak previews can you give us into the State of Entrepreneurship report that will be released in early 2025?
On the positive side, for the Inland Empire region, we really shine in three areas. First is that what we would call entrepreneurial resilience. Our startups have demonstrated incredible survival rates. So when you compare us to the state and the national trends, we are, as one of my lead researcher on the State of Entrepreneurship report says, we're kicking butt, especially during these difficult times. Our startups in the region survive longer. That they're outpacing their peers. Our startups locally are creating more jobs than national and state average. And last but not least is that what's really driving a lot of the business growth and the startup growth in our region is diversity in business ownership. So we're seeing incredible amount of startup activity among historically underrepresented populations. And really, right now, the Hispanic population is driving that. That really is nice to see that rise, that it reflects progress in inclusivity and representation. On the flip side, not so positive for us in the region is that we continue to struggle with creating businesses that are more innovative and scalable. So we call this opportunity entrepreneurship versus necessity entrepreneurship. Our necessity entrepreneurship, which is kind of, hey, I needed to create a business because I was underemployed or not employed at all. That's really high. Opportunity entrepreneurship is driven by I'm fully employed or I'm at least employed part-time and I leave that job to start a business because there's an incredible opportunity there. We are not seeing as high a level of opportunity entrepreneurship as we would like. And I think that's probably the biggest gap we have in the region. And then the region, part of what's feeding limits the growth of our existing companies in the region is the skill and workforce gaps, which we just talked about. And we need to do a better job in the region in terms of generating skilled workers, increasing our college going rates. A lot of our startups in the region, my peers over at UC Riverside and the Office of Technology Partnerships, a little shout out to Rosabelle and her team, as they're working with these innovative startups, kind of like what we do on our campus. They're finding that a lot of those startups are having to leave the region to get access to the talent that they need, as well as leave the region to get access to capital. So we've got to do a better job in the region of that.
Dr. Stull, please expand on the Spirit of Entrepreneur Awards and success stories from your students or local entrepreneurs that highlight the impact of your programs.
Oh, great. Yeah. So let me focus on the Spirit of the Entrepreneur Awards. That is an event that we have been doing for 22 years now. We do it every November, and it fits into our mission of supporting and promoting entrepreneurship and small business in the region. One of the things I think is really powerful is that we must tell our own story as a region. One of the things that I think we must do is, and I view this from the lens of the university and the School of Entrepreneurship, is we must put our local entrepreneurs out there as role models for the community and our students. When I first got here to Cal State San Bernardino, and I was asking some of the students, who do you want to be like in the future? They would all give me kind of what I would call stock answers. I want to be like, Bill Gates or Oprah Winfrey or Mrs. Fields, Steve Jobs, whatever. And I was distressed because their role models were admirable, but not local. And we've got incredible local role models that you can reach out and talk to, that you can visit their business, you can meet and interact with. And so one of the things that the Spirit of the Entrepreneur Awards wants to do is recognize innovation, business growth, business success in the region at what our attendees have taken to calling the Oscars of business. And it is a red carpet, black tie gala. Usually close to 1,000 people attend the event. And it is the one night of the year where we stop and we celebrate the diversity and spectrum of success we have in the Inland Empire when it comes to entrepreneurs, and hear their stories and be inspired. And we take our students to the event, so that they can meet these folks, see them. It's a big audience, obviously. So there's not just our students going. It's, our students are a very small percentage of the folks attending. but it is truly an opportunity to put a spotlight on the innovators and the heroes of business in our region once a year. And it also serves as an opportunity for our student startups to pitch their ideas as part of the Garner Holt Student Fast Pitch Competition, which culminates at the Spirit of the Entrepreneur Awards. So the audience not only getting to see successful entrepreneurs out there already, but they're getting a kind of a preview, if you will, a glimpse of what the future entrepreneurs might look like as coming out of our School of Entrepreneurship here at Cal State San Bernardino. So that's pretty cool. And it's always nice, when those two things intersect. And we've had a couple of our students that have gone on to create successful businesses that have then been recognized at the Spirit of the Entrepreneur many years later. So that's a nice full circle moment for us.
Absolutely amazing. Dr. Stull, what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs looking to overcome fear and take the leap into starting their own businesses?
Yeah, I think the key is fear is driven by the unknown. And the more we can know, the more we can understand, the more we can get comfortable with something, the less likely we are to fear it. I think that it applies in a lot of different settings. And so for us, and one of the reasons why not only do we work with our students in the School of Entrepreneurship, not only does the Inland Empire Center for Entrepreneurship work with business owners in the community and also provide experiential learning for the students here on campus, but as a center and as a school, we outreach to youth. So we have a high school program in the summer where students come and learn about entrepreneurship. And it's really kind of deconstructing the myth of entrepreneurship. It's making it less scary. It's making it less daunting. The idea is to turn the unknown into the known. Just a couple of days ago, we had a group of middle school students here on campus, and they did 4 sessions with us learning about entrepreneurship and what is it. And, so I think that's the biggest thing is like, if you talk to students these days, they know what entrepreneurship is, and many of them want to be an entrepreneur, but they don't always know what that means to be an entrepreneur. And so that creates a little bit of that fear and the unknown. And if we can break that down, I think we've got a really good chance of, having a huge number of those students become entrepreneurs in the future. It's one thing to want to do it. It's another thing to do it. And if we can bridge that gap and say, you want to do it, you're interested in doing it, but you're a little bit afraid of doing it. Well, here's why you should be afraid, but here's why you shouldn't be afraid too.
Absolutely. Dr. Stull, as an educator, what feedback do you often hear from students that inspires you to continue shaping the curriculum for future generations?
Oh, wow. So just yesterday I was talking to students in our master's program. They were doing their final presentations of their new venture projects as part of their culminating experience in the program. And they were getting ready and they were talking, and several of the students that were doing their presentations had gone through one of my courses that I teach, which is how do you actually pitch your new venture concept effectively. And that's a new class. We had just offered it for the first time this last year. And one of the students said, and we had students in there that were saying, well, I'm going to be taking that class next semester. And the student said, that class is a game changer. Like, totally made my experience much easier in this other class because now I'm up to speed on pitching. I'm pitching today. I feel confident, comfortable because I really got put through the ringer in that class. So those are the types of feedback that we get. And it's important to note that we ask every one of our students in our undergraduate and our graduate program to rate our program, give us feedback when they graduate. They all go through a process where they're required to do it. It's a course, it's an actual course. And they give us feedback on what worked, what didn't. And we use that feedback every year to make incremental changes, sometimes big changes, but mostly incremental changes to our curriculum and our courses so that we're constantly, improving. And it's something we're also doing as faculty is like, what do we need to be including? So that's really, that type of feedback is critical. And then one last piece I'll share is that I had a student in my class right now, and one day as we were breaking into their teams to work on projects, she said, you know, Professor, my brother was a student of yours a few years back. And I said, oh, and she said, he wanted me to tell you hello. And she said, he said, you probably won't remember him. And I said, well, what's his name? You know, Antonio. And I said, well, I said, I've had a lot of Antonios in my class. I said, you know, do you know the year? And she said, well, I think it was this year. I said, I'm going to go check. We were getting ready to break. And I said, I'm going to go check. I said, oh, yeah, he was in 2015. And she said, well, here's a picture of him. And I said, I recognize him. I wouldn't have, you have to prompt me. It's been, you know, almost 10 years since I had him in class. And she said, well, the message you wanted to deliver was your class and this program is what inspired him to actually be an entrepreneur. He created a business. He's doing over a $2 million in revenue now. He's getting ready to launch another business. And he said, it all started right here. He got the inspiration. He said that the class he took with you, he said, I was motivated and I want to do this. And he said the entire experience was great. And so that's the kind of feedback that keeps us, you know, going and doing what we do. We love what we do, but it is nice to get that feedback that we are making a difference with the students, and that difference is happening in the community as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise, for being a pillar in the community of business and entrepreneurship, and developing and spearheading these innovative programs to make entrepreneurship attainable, understandable, and something not to fear, but to embrace. Thank you so much for being with us today, Dr. Stull.
My pleasure. Anytime, Yvette.
Perfect. So for everybody listening today, don't forget to look for us on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Check us out on scbrtalk.com. Don't miss my interview with Tim Evans, the CEO and founder of the Unforgettables Foundation, who is the founding chaplain of Loma Linda University Children's Hospital when the Unforgettables Foundation began its generation-long mission. Tim has a Master's of Divinity and a CFRE certification for the past 20 years. Next week, we will have Anahita Dalmia, a third-generation Rotarian originally from New Delhi, India, and currently from the Rotary Club of Newport Beach. Anahita is co-founder and CEO of Alteria. She has been designing interactive experiences for social impact since high school that have received recognitions, including winning SBIR grants from the U.S. Department of Education, the Aspen Institute's Information Disorder Competition, and being a finalist for SXSW Innovation Awards. She is a 3-time published author on achieving social impact using experiential design. You do not want to miss it. We will see you all next week.